So this week we're going to showcase some really big ideas, give you something to binge on, and also something to dance around the lounge room to. Hello, I'm Kellie Riordan and I head up the podcast team at the ABC. Now we're all of course practicing social distancing and self-isolating at the moment, which means we can feel a little disconnected. But we want to come together still and feel connected to ideas and other humans in our neighbourhood, in our country and of course globally. Listening to a podcast is one of the ways that you can achieve this at the moment, right from your very own home. So over the next few weeks, we're going to give you tips on amazing podcasts to listen to, whether it's looking for credible information at the moment, whether you want to just escape and listen to something completely different that takes you to another world, whether you're looking for a show to entertain your kids if they're at home. We'll put links to all of these shows in the description, and of course you can get them wherever you find your podcasts. Okay, so my first podcast today is called the TED Radio Hour. You may have heard of TED. It's a global phenomenon with conferences all around the world, and you might have watched some of their videos on YouTube. But there's also a TED Radio Hour podcast hosted by Manoush Zomorodi. And what they do is they tap into the best and brightest minds around the globe, grab the audio from those talks, but then dip even deeper by interviewing some of those specialists. So it might be Brené Brown, the social researcher who talks about how we should all feel more vulnerable, and then they interview her about her ideas and unpack them even further. Or it might be an expert on robotics and artificial intelligence. It might be an economist who has some really broad ideas about capitalism. And via this podcast, you're allowed to kind of get into the minds of some of the brightest and best and boldest thinkers in the world. So if you're looking for a podcast that makes you think, that taps you into different ideas, that allows you to unpack some really complex issues, the TED Radio Hour is perfect for that. So next on our podcast menu, a highly bingeable series. This is one you're going to consume in quick succession. It's called The 11th, and we might all know that iconic moment where the Prime Minister Gough Whitlam stood on the steps of Parliament and started his now infamous speech, "Well may we say." But how much do you really know about the dismissal? What went on? Who was behind it? Why it happened? What was going on in politics at the time? So this team, led by Alex Mann, the host, has gone back into the archives. We've looked at all the material and the interviews that exist at the time, but we've also gone back to the key players who were around in the 1970s to ask them to help us piece together what actually happened. There's a bit of intrigue in this as well. What did the CIA know about the dismissal? What did Buckingham Palace know or not know at the time? So this is a highly bingeable series, 7 episodes. Once you start, you will not be able to stop. And it's a really great one, even if you're not into politics, because there's so much drama. There are amazing, colourful characters. The plot just jumps along and you'll be hooked. All right, my third pick, Song Exploder. Now this podcast is not just for music nuts, it's for anyone who just wants to get inside the creative process.
You're listening to Song Exploder, where musicians take apart their songs and piece by piece tell the story of how they were made.
What happens in the show is a musician or a band deconstructs one of their songs. They let you in on how they chose the particular cymbal that they used, or the bass line, or why they chose to lay the guitar tracks in a certain way. So you really get inside the mind of the songwriter. The other thing I love about this show is it doesn't look at the big obvious stadium anthems of an artist. Instead, the musicians choose a song that's lesser known but that has a great story behind it. So an example of this is in an episode with Bono from U2, where he talks about the song Cedarwood Road. Now Cedarwood Road is the place where he grew up in Dublin, and it just takes you inside his mind of what it was like growing up at that time, and you really unpack the lyrics of the song in a new way. The other thing I love about this show, Rishikesh Hirway, the host, is almost absent. He really gives over to the songwriter and allows you to, I guess, lift the curtain on the creative process. This is a great one to listen to no matter where you are, in the car, in the bath, while you're cooking dinner. Song Exploder is fantastic, you're going to love it. I hope those podcasts help you feel a little more connected while we're all practicing social distancing, and you can subscribe to ABC Australia for more stories of people and place right across our country.